Guys, I have to tell you, this one feels like the kind of bombshell that could blow the whole case wide open. Because just when it looks like Curtis is about to get crushed by this ugly assault charge, Jordan may have stumbled onto the one thing that flips the entire board. And trust me, if this plays out the way I think it might, then we are not looking at a simple court battle anymore. We are looking at a straight up betrayal machine, and Isaiah may be standing right in the center of it. Here is where things get messy. Curtis already crossed a dangerous line when he attacked Isaiah, and that part is not up for debate. Isaiah's hand was injured, the damage looks serious, and on paper, that is exactly the kind of detail that can send a case spiraling fast. Add Turner into the mix, and suddenly Curtis looks like he is one hard legal push away from ending up behind bars. And that is exactly why Jordan is so furious. From where I sit, you can almost feel her frustration boiling through the screen. She sees Isaiah making a huge deal out of the injury. She sees Turner pushing the case forward. And she probably feels like everyone is lining up to drag Curtis down without really stopping to ask what is actually going on. Jordan may think Isaiah is exaggerating. Turner may think she is just following the facts. But facts can be staged, twisted, and polished into a weapon. And I think Jordan is about to realize that the whole thing may have been built on something rotten. Because the real shocker is not the attack itself. It is what Jordan could overhear next. Imagine this. Jordan is already on edge, already angry, already convinced that Curtis is being cornered. Then she hears Isaiah and Portia talking in private, and that conversation changes everything. Not in a small way, in a detonating way. What if Isaiah's injuries are not nearly as bad as he has been claiming? What if Portia knows it? What if the two of them have been quietly working together to make the damage look worse than it really is, all so they can pin the whole thing on Curtis? Now that would be a brutal twist, because suddenly the victim is no longer just a victim. He is someone potentially staging the evidence. Portia stops looking like a concerned doctor and starts looking like an accomplice. And Isaiah, he goes from injured party to possible master manipulator in the blink of an eye. That is the part that would leave everybody shaking their heads. I mean, think about it. If Isaiah only has a minor injury, but he and Portia are acting like it is catastrophic, then what are we really watching here? A legal case? Or a setup dressed up in sympathy and medical language? That is why Jordan's discovery could be such a game changer. She may not have the cleanest path into this mess, but she may have the one thing that matters most: proof. And not just any proof. I am talking about a recorded conversation. Now that is the kind of detail that makes a courtroom go silent. If Jordan managed to record Isaiah and Portia talking openly about exaggerating the injury, then everything Turner thinks she knows could collapse in seconds. Because Turner may be working in good faith. She may have built her entire case on what looked like reliable evidence. She may truly believe Curtis is the one who needs to answer for this. But if the evidence was manufactured, then Turner has been fighting the wrong battle the whole time. And honestly, that is where the sting gets even sharper. Turner would not just lose, she would be blindsided. Because she would not be defeated by a stronger argument or a sharper witness. She would be defeated by deception from her own side. That is the kind of legal betrayal that makes a prosecutor look like she got played in real time. And if you ask me, that is exactly the sort of twist General Hospital loves to weaponize. One minute the case looks airtight, and the next minute the floor drops out from under everybody. The part I cannot get over is Portia. Portia being in on this changes the entire temperature of the story. Because she is not just helping Isaiah in some minor, harmless way. She could be helping create fake damage, fake urgency, fake outrage, all to make Curtis look more dangerous than he really is. That is not a small mistake. That is not an accident. That is a deliberate act of cover-up. And once that gets exposed, there is no easy way back. We all know how fast these things can turn. One lie leads to another. One fake detail leads to a fake record. One staged injury becomes a full-blown trap. And then suddenly, the person who is supposed to be punished becomes the one with the strongest defense. That could be Curtis. And let me just say this, because it matters. Curtis may still have done something wrong by attacking Isaiah. Nobody is going to erase that. But there is a huge difference between a real assault case and a case built on manipulated evidence. That gap is where the entire story lives now. Because if Jordan can prove that Isaiah and Portia intentionally inflated the injury to frame Curtis, then the legal story stops being about Curtis's mistake and starts becoming about their fraud. That is the kind of switch that turns a courtroom into a battlefield. And I would not be surprised if Jordan is the one who gets them all caught. That is the wild part. Jordan may start out angry, defensive, and ready to protect Curtis, but she could end up becoming the person who accidentally uncovers the whole scam. One overheard conversation, one suspicious detail, one recording. That is all it could take. And when she brings that evidence forward, you can already picture the stunned silence. Turner frozen, Isaiah scrambling, Portia trying to explain too much too fast, and Curtis standing there, finally seeing the trap for what it really was. That is when the real fallout begins. Because if the recording is strong enough, Curtis could walk free. Not because he is innocent of everything, but because the case against him was poisoned from the start. And once that is exposed, Isaiah's credibility could go up in smoke. Portia could be dragged in as a co-conspirator. Turner could lose the case completely, not because she is incompetent, but because she was unknowingly standing on top of a lie. That is brutal. That is embarrassing. And that is exactly the kind of courtroom disaster that can ripple far beyond one hearing. Because once people realize Isaiah lied about the extent of his injury, the consequences do not stop at the lawsuit. No. The damage spreads. Reputation, trust, professional standing, personal relationships. All of it starts cracking. And Portia, if she truly helped him fake the severity of the injury, could find herself exposed in a way that is impossible to walk back. Now, here is the question I keep circling back to. Why would Isaiah do this? That is the secret sitting under all of this, and it makes the whole story even darker. Was he trying to protect himself? Was he trying to punish Curtis? Did Portia push him into it, or did he push Portia into helping him? Or is there something even bigger happening here, something that has not been revealed yet, something that makes this whole setup part of a larger power move? Because once a character starts faking evidence, the whole game changes. We stop asking who got hurt and start asking who planned what, who knew what, and who was willing to go the furthest to win. And I think Jordan is just one step away from forcing that truth into the open. You can almost feel the pressure building. Curtis thinking the walls are closing in. Turner preparing for a case she thinks is solid. Isaiah acting confident, maybe a little too confident. Portia trying to keep the whole thing from unraveling. And Jordan caught in the middle, holding the one piece of proof that could blow the entire thing apart. That is not just a twist. That is a full-on exposure arc. And the best part, or maybe the worst part, depending on who you are rooting for, is that this could end with Curtis walking out free while Isaiah and Portia are left scrambling to explain why they built their case on a lie. Turner could be furious, not just because she lost, but because she was used. And honestly, that is the kind of leak that could change everything around here. Because once a secret like this gets out, it never stays contained for long. So now I have to ask, what happens when Jordan finally puts that recording on the table? Does Isaiah panic and turn on Portia? Does Portia try to deny everything? And when Turner realizes she has been blindsided, does she go after the truth or go after the people who lied to her? That next move could be the one that destroys them all.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.